Hi, my name is Tawny Bush, and I am the lead estimator at Reata Engineering and Machine Works, and I'm here to tell you about Requirements Review, a new feature just released by Paperless Parts. It is a quoting tool that you can use to build rules to ensure that you don't miss any critical requirements when quoting. It helps to avoid risk, and you're able to set all of these rules up based on the thresholds and conditions that apply to your shop. They're totally customizable. You can use specifications, callouts, GD&T, any outside processing, the things that matter most to you internally. All right, I will go into this quote and show you an example of how the requirements review works. If you open the part viewer, there's a little blue arrow with a star, and you select that. It shows you all the items you have to review that were pulled from that specific print based on the rules created by your team. So I have we have different processes so that we can just set the specific machine and operations that we would typically use based on certain callouts from the print. And it automatically says, hey, we think you should assign this to this specific machine. And in fact, it is correct. So I can simply just click set process to CNC mill 5-axis, and it will set the process for me. And it thinks that this machine is also a possibility based on the different dimensions and features shown. However, I think that the other machine is a better fit, so we can just say this one doesn't apply. And then if you take a look at this one, something that we run into concerns with a lot is thin walls. And so I've created this rule that shows any thicknesses or lengths dimensionally that show up as a tight tolerance, and it will highlight those as something that I should check out and make sure it's not going to be a problem. This one's actually pulling from the title block. So it's not a wall thickness or length, so it's not something that I am concerned about. And so I can go ahead and just say that this isn't really applicable to this item. Or if I felt like it was, I could say, I could message someone in my team and say, hey, I noticed that this appears to be a thin wall. Is this something that we can do? Any special tooling required? And it will actually alert my quality manager or machinist or whoever I want to send that to take a look at. And he's able to chat back to me and say, hey, we're good to go. I think we should no quote this item, and we can proceed accordingly. And we also have on this next part a few different things that have popped up. When you create the rules, you can have them auto assign to a specific person so that it alerts them and they know that they need to review it. And if it doesn't have a person that you have it automatically assign it to, I'm able to assign, if I wanted to say, hey, can you take a look at this? And you can assign features to people as you go through. And with this specific part, it pulled this, our Integrex multitasking machine 5-axis, which is exactly where I would have put this myself. So I can go ahead and set that process. And creating rules is super easy. You can either do it from down here in the part viewer, you can click create rule and say I wanted to create a rule for tight tolerance true position. If you just click in the signals box, it comes up with several different categories that you can choose from to create your rule. For this one, I'm going to select the GD&T callouts. If you click features and control frames, all you have to do is click true position. And if the value is, see, a pretty standard less than or equal to 0.001, and then you can really get down to the nitty-gritty and add additional requirements to make it very specific. I'm going to leave this one generic just because that's something that appears often. And then you can set your resolutions. If you click resolve, you can actually enter in whatever resolution fits best for your team. You can type in, approved if that's something that isn't really an issue that you should be concerned with, or just to acknowledge that it's been reviewed and everything is good to go. You can also add a no quote this line item resolution so that if it is something that makes the part unmanufacturable, you can select this and it will no quote that line item for you. Additionally, you can assign you can assign this to a specific person. So anytime this rule is called out and noted on a print, it will automatically assign it to that specific person and alert them so that they are able to go in and take a look at it and resolve it. So then you just click create rule. And if you go, I think it was this one, click refresh items. And right here, you can see that our new rules popped up, the tight tolerance true position. It's been automatically assigned to the specific person that I selected inside of the rule creation. And if you select the different little bubbles that shows where it was shown on the print, it will actually highlight those in dark blue. You're able to say, discuss this with that specific person or anyone else on your team, or resolve it one way or another. I'll say, you know what, I approve, this is good to go. And then if we move on to another part, let's go up to this first guy here. Since I did create a rule, I have to refresh items so that all of the relevant rules will pop up, just in case you made any changes or adjustments to a rule. That way the older version won't show up. It'll have the new information. And then here you can see another one of the thickness call outs, plus or minus 000. That sounds pretty concerning. That's probably not something that we would want to try to make without discussing with the customer or talking with someone. I would say right now, I might no quote this item, just so that you can see what that looks like. You can select that and no quote it. Okay. Another way that you can use these to help internally is with outside processing and different special requirements that come along with that, like passivation, for example. On this part, we have a passivate per ASTM A967 call out. It's a steel part, pretty standard process. But we actually are able to do that internally. We have that process in-house, so I can create a rule that says passivation in-house. my signal, I can select this any text and includes any. If I type in, ASTM A967 or A967, which is that pretty standard call out. And to help minimize like things popping up that you don't want to pop up, you can add additional signals. So you can say, hey, if this appears and this text appears, then it'll help to clear out some of the unnecessary or unwanted things that might get pulled. It makes it more specific, which is nice. Or you can say, if it has this or this, to include some different options as well. So another resolution you can do is to add an operation. So if you select, it'll actually pull up all of your internal operations. And let's see, here is our internal operation for passivation. So I can set that as my resolution and create this rule, and then we will just hit refresh, and now it shows up, and we can say add passivation operation. And then if you go back to this item and refresh, you can actually see that it adds the operation for you so that you can drag it wherever you'd like in the process. In addition, you can see where I had no quoted this item too. So it's very handy. It saves a ton of time. And I know I am not a quality, I'm not a quality inspector. A lot of the tolerances, GD&T stuff is a little bit above my head and out of my wheelhouse. And so being able to, not just myself, but have my team set up these rules to flag certain things that we should be looking for, we should be bringing attention to, and making those alerts up front. It's way easier and faster to, for one, I'm able to see all that stuff ahead of time. I'm not spending, half hour, 40 minutes digging in, trying to put together a quote for a part, and then have someone come back and say, we can't hold that tolerance. Let's just no quote this one. Or I don't think we can do, we can't do that true position. We can't hold that flatness. And so it takes some of the risk out of those things, as far as like things I might not notice. And when it brings it to the forefront, then I can run and talk to somebody right away. I'm not spinning my wheels on something that there's really no need to. And it helps us to communicate internally, have that traceability, to say, hey, we did notice this, we did address it, it was discussed, this is the solution. As well as just like, prints are tiny, the text is teeny tiny. Sometimes you have to zoom in with like 20,000 times magnification to be able to see what it says. And having this feature be able to identify that information without, straining your eyes and having to bust out the magnifying glass to see all of these things, it's a huge time saver. It's fun to create the different rules and kind of see how they work and see how the information shows up. Having the ability to have my team involved in the creation of the rules and coming up with the different ideas as well for things that are important to them. And it's a great collaboration tool, and not even just for the hard things like the GD&T and the things that I might not have as much knowledge or information on personally. So it's not just for, the high level stuff, but just to make things easier, just more seamless, to be able to set up the rules for like outside processing and different masking, just alerting you, hey, there's a call out for masking. You can look at it and see if it's something, that may require some additional cost or time for your vendor. If it's something that might change the whole way you process your part. We do this thing internally sometimes with really complex masking, called reverse processing, where we machine the anodized surfaces, send it out for anodized, bring it back, machine the rest of the surfaces that are Kim filmed or free of anodize, and continue on that way, just to avoid any bleed out or other issues that can occur from complex masking of surfaces. And this also has helped a ton with export control, ITAR requirements. I have it set up to where it will alert me if it sees the word export, ITAR, anything like that, and so I don't miss marking parts as export controlled, like I have in the past, because I couldn't read that information. And we want to make sure that we get those marked accurately all the time. Another feature that they've added to the requirements review is this bulk set all. So you're able to go to the quote level and open the requirements review, and it'll show all of the review items. You can filter them by resolved, unresolved, any status, by assignee and the type, so operation, estimator, no quote, and set and resolve multiple things at once. Like down here in this print missing, if it shows 2 items, so we can open that up and it'll show you exactly what they are. It looks like these are probably hardware items, so I'm able to go back to the quote level and I can go ahead and set all and not applicable, and it will go ahead and resolve both of those for me. We have several different categories for our rules. One of them is an auto assign, and it uses different information that it pulls from the print to suggest a machine and take some of the thought and human error maybe out of it, so that you can select that and set the process automatically based on different call outs that it's been identified. We have vendor rules. Certain vendors, whether it be just historical or process related, capability wise, we have different rules for different vendors and different processes set up. Also for flagging and detecting certain things, detecting a masking requirement, maybe assembly instructions, and then flagging for things that could be concerning or require a second look, like maybe a thin wall or a cosmetic finish requirement. And additionally, if there's any missing documentation, that's something else that we alert, whether it's a print or a CAD file. If you miss a critical requirement on a print, it can end up disastrously. You can completely underquote time-wise if you don't notice a call out that could require like a small tool that has to take a ton of passes and face like a huge surface. You could miss, you may not even be able to make the part altogether. You could not include like the cost for special tooling that may be required or a special process. If you don't notice a certain specification called out, you may quote to send a part to a vendor that isn't able to perform the processing and end up totally underquoting. It can be a nightmare. It can drive your team crazy. It can, you know, totally eat up a machine time, and inspection time too, because making the part is one thing, but being able to inspect it and actually provide documentation and evidence that the part is made correctly can be really difficult if you miss certain tolerances and callouts that may not be able to be measured. Using this tool creates a lot less risk. You're able to use different specifications and callouts on the print, and it'll flag them so that it brings them right to the forefront. It makes it way easier and faster. I'm able to alert my team about certain concerns with prints that I might not have seen before. And you can customize all of the rules to the thresholds and conditions that apply to your shop and that matter the most to you and your team.